Like always, today's episode is brought to you by our amazing sponsors: gluten-free diet water, premium junk clothing, Williamson wines, and Good Dudes Coffee. Gluten-free diet water. Stay hydrated with a refreshing twist, perfect for those health-conscious listeners. Premium junk clothing, for those who love to express their unique style with high-quality fashion pieces. Visit premiumjunkclothing.com and use code EverydayGSD15 at checkout. Williamson Wine, natural artesian wine from Napa and Sonoma. And last but not least, Good Dudes Coffee, veteran owned by former Navy SEAL Josh Bridges, and where every cup is brewed with passion and dedication to quality. Visit their website at gooddudescoffee.com and use discount code EverydayGSD10 for an exclusive offer. Thanks to our sponsors for supporting the show, and now let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the Everyday GSD Podcast, Hollywood Edition. Today's two special guests, Paul Kirkland and Candice Coke. Did I say it right?
You did.
Awesome. So I'm just going to do a quick little bio on both of you, very small, and then we're going to jump right into it. Paul, you've been successfully working in the industry for almost 2 decades. I don't know how that's possible because you don't look like you're old enough to be working in the industry for that long, but that's just my opinion. Choreographer, a creative director, and an entrepreneur. You are a partner in 8 and 1 Productions.
That's right.
Candice hails from New York. Shout out to New York, where you studied educational theater at NYU. Wow. Started off as a dancer, and now you're doing film, TV, and voiceovers.
That's correct.
Okay. I guess the show's all over. That's a wrap. Okay. We're just going to jump into it. First of all, how'd you guys meet?
Oh, that's a long story. Well, yeah, we both actually started out in the dance world.
Okay.
And we have a mutual friend who is one of the biggest tour concert creators of our time right now. And Paul used to work for him when he was touring for Madonna and Christina Aguilera. And, you know, I was Jamie's best friend. And
people that no one knows. Okay.
Yeah, nobody knows them.
Yeah.
And I would just, I would tag along and
that.
go to these tours and, like, you know, go behind the scenes. And he was one of the dancers on these projects. So I have known him for very many years from a distance. But, you know, I've got a couple of years on him. So I was like, he's too young for me. Hashtag to a couple of years later, yeah, he came to my birthday party and we reignited a friendship that was turned into a relationship.
A flame. I love it. I love it. So why don't you tell me about working with some of these, I'll call them superstars?
Yeah. You know, I have been blessed to work with a lot of the greats in this business, from Christina to J.Lo to Madonna to Michael Jackson. Unfortunately, after he passed, I worked on a lot of projects since then. Paul Abdul to you name him, Stevie Wonder. You know, one of my greatest moments, I always say, was being able to be on stage with Stevie Wonder the first time he ever danced on stage, just teaching him a little two-step on the BET Awards.
So you actually showed him.
I didn't show him. I worked under a choreographer named Fatima Robinson, but it was one of those moments that in my younger years, I just remember watching him come into the rehearsal space, being taught the dance steps, was there for all of it, and then just driving home at night and being like, holy shit, I just watched Stevie Wonder learn dance steps in a dance studio. And I just remember like, I'm good. My career is complete.
Right.
You know, because this is Stevie.
Yeah, it's Stevie Wonder.
And then you're on stage with him during the award show and it's real. And you're like, I just was on stage with somebody making history that, you know, not a lot of people can say that.
Right.
And that's what our job is making history every day.
Right.
You know.
So let's back it up. So at what point in your career, what point in your childhood did you decide you wanted to make this a career?
Sure. You know,
and this question's for both of you, so you can both jump in. So
yeah, you know, for me, it's interesting. I've been dancing. I got into dance at 3 years old. I went to a daycare that was behind a dance studio, and I kind of just transitioned naturally into that because all the kids were leaving, and I didn't want to be left alone. So I went over and started dance at a very young age. But I would say it was probably around like 11 or 12. I tried to quit dance,
and why is that?
Well, exactly. I wanted to play sports. I wanted to explore other things that I could do in my life. Fortunately, my father sat me down and was like, boy, I spent a lot of money when you doing this. I used to compete, so I would travel a lot.
And what kind of dance were you competing in?
I was competing in ballet, tap, jazz, your typical dance studio techniques.
My wife's gonna love this episode, by the way.
No.
Yeah, she grew up as a dancer, so
Nice.
Sure,
Yeah,
I love that. I love that. So she'll be able to relate. And
absolutely.
well, most of young women in their early years all go to dance studios and take ballet classes or put on point shoes or
Except
ballet
for me.
shoes and tutus. Except for
for me.
you. That's right.
That's
Candice
really fun.
definitely has a different path, which is beautiful and unique in its own right, which I'm sure she'll share in a second. Yeah.
But do you think when you said you were done and your dad sat you down and said, I mean, obviously that was a pivotal point in a conversation that, that's GSD right there, because if he would have just let you quit, we wouldn't even be sitting here right now. And you wouldn't be telling me about Stevie Wonder.
And we would have never met.
Exactly.
Right.
And we would have.
And there's a lot of these stars that wouldn't have been able to have you choreograph their
work on any of this stuff. I wouldn't have had the career that I had, and this was the turning point for me. So I'll paint the picture a little more vividly. My father is a concrete truck driver.
I love it.
His boy is a dancer, and he's supporting me in this moment. And we're sitting on the back of the truck. He's drinking a beer, and he's just like, "Boy, I put too much energy into this, and you did too. And I don't know if you realize what you've done so far, but I can't let you stop."
Right.
And that was a moment that for me was a pivotal point, because I still got to go play the sports and play basketball and football and run track and do all the things that I wanted to do. Now that I look back at it, I'm like, I don't know how my body took it, because I would literally go to dance class at 9 a.m. at a performing arts school. I would do my academics during the day, and then I'd go to football or basketball practice after school, and go to a dance studio till 9 or 10 o'clock every night. So I studied my whole life to be where I'm at.
Right.
So it's some kind of, in a way, subconscious. What am I trying to say? Subconscious for me.
Yeah.
It's what I eat, breathe, sleep. It's who I am.
But you think when someone says to you, they're like, "Oh, you're so lucky," right? Because to me, that's insulting when people say that. Like, if you're sitting down telling a story about working with Madonna or any of these like super well known amazing stars, and they're like, "Oh, you're so lucky," they don't realize the work that you put in and the conversation that your dad had on the back of the cement truck.
Yeah. Or
right.
Yeah.
You didn't just move out to LA and they're like, "Oh yeah,
it's blood, sweat, and tears."
Yeah.
It's blood, sweat, and tears,
Right.
And people don't understand that. They think, especially I'm going to say this, in the world that we live in now, with the instant gratification of social media and, being able to see yourself on a phone now, we didn't have that. We just had an idea and a passion and a love for what we did, and we just put our head down and went and got it. Now it's a little different. You can kind of see everybody in the moment.
Right. And I think you can see a lot of people in the moment that aren't real.
1,000%.
Yeah, there's that part, right?
Yeah. Yeah. My story is definitely different than Paul's. I was raised very sheltered. I was actually raised a Jehovah's Witness. So we weren't allowed to really, be extrovert. I didn't get to watch a lot of film and television back then. I didn't really even know I didn't even know it was a job,
Right.
But I did know that on Saturday mornings we would put on a record and we'd dance around the living room. And it was a way of communication in our household. It was a way to celebrate each other.
Right.
And it was fun, right? So for me, in school, as I was growing up, we had the school band. So I played an instrument and I was like, music, that's fun.
What was the instrument?
I played the tenor saxophone.
Okay.
And my band teacher, I was probably in 9th grade. He was like, "Hey, we're going to do a play. Do you want to be in it?" And I was like, "What's the play?" And he was like, "Princess and the Pea." And I said, "Great. What's the role?" He goes, "Would you like to play the jester?" And I said, "Yes." And he was like, "Okay, rehearsal's next week, Tuesday." So I come into rehearsal and I'm pretty much off book. And he was like, "Well, you don't have to have the play memorized by now." And I'm like, "Well, I didn't know what to expect,
So you memorized everything.
I memorized all my parts. Yeah. So, we rehearsed. We do
Day one.
Day one. Yeah. We do the school play, and I just realized I had so much fun, and I actually was able to use my voice for the first time, not just dancing in the living room, but using my voice as an actor and a storyteller. And then I realized I never used my voice before. So it became a vessel for me to express myself, experience communication, and, and also pretend and maybe escape a little bit.
Right.
So with that, I decided to, years later, go to NYU, because not only did I have a diving scholarship, so that would help pay for school.
Well, that's right. You were a really good diver.
I was a springboard diver, and I loved that part of my life. I probably got most of my training emotionally and spiritually teaching myself how to do that because I was self-taught.
In the athletic world.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the things I've done have been self-taught. Like diving, I used to watch these like black and white videos of people diving on a diving board and got myself a scholarship to a university, which served me really well. And then in my third year of college, let me take that back. I needed to pay for school for some things. And I saw that there was a dance audition for to be the Knick City Dancers. And I was like, oh, I love basketball and I like Patrick Ewing, so let me go to this audition. And I show up at Madison Square Garden. There's 500 girls there. And they were picking 6. And I was one of the 6 that were whittled down. I don't know how it happened, but it did. And then
because you deserved it.
I think my approach to all performing was that I always had fun, right? Fortunately and unfortunately, we didn't have the funds to pay for dance school.
Right.
So for my family was always like, if it feels good, do it, right? And I think what I did was I brought levity to the audition world or whatever that scene was. People are like, I must get this job. I need to get this job. And I would show up and go, this is really fun. And I think the energy of having fun was the thing that was my magnet.
Right.
So along the way, I met some really wonderful professional dancers who taught me like key elements that got me to my next job, that got me to my next job, that got me to my next job.
And but you've danced with, from my understanding, Prince, Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean,
I crashed most of those auditions.
She's had the best career as far as a dancer and real music.
I just
and growing
showed
up in the early ages of hip hop.
I mean, you literally crashed these auditions.
Yes,
she did.
Yes.
Can we talk about that?
Well, that's some GSD shit.
Yeah,
right?
that's
But here's
this is Candice's personality to a
This
T.
is my I believe.
You're like, you're not on the list.
No,
like,
I'm like,
watch this.
No, but I'm like, I am on the
care.
list. I am on the list. And they're like, no, you're not. I'm like, yes, I am. Just like, I think also when you come in and you like have a desire for something, anything is possible. I mean, we know that in this day and age. All I can do is ask. If they say no, then there's my answer. But if they say
no and you can do it, you can keep asking.
I could, yeah. You ask until you get the yes, right?
Right.
So, and there's, wherever there's a will, there's a way. There's always a way in. And I try to live my life like that still,
Yeah.
So that's kind of.
So the first time you, did you dance with Michael Jackson or Prince first?
I danced with Michael first.
Can you tell us how that was?
I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And I had never seen dancers like that before. Like when they came out to perform, like his old crew, I was like, I've never seen this level of professionalism before. But it was an inspiration to step up and level up. And from that job, I met one of my best friends, and he pretty much took me under his wing, and I became his assistant. And so therefore became the Princes, the Ricky Martins, the experiences afterwards. And that's how I learned. I learned on site.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
I taught Michael Jackson how to smoke a cigarette.
Yeah.
Because
say that again.
I taught Michael Jackson how to smoke a cigarette.
Who can say that?
Not that I smoke anymore. Just so you know.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you have two totally different paths growing up.
Yeah.
Two different, completely different experiences with training and education, but now you find yourself
meshing
those
two
together.
worlds.
Yeah, it's
together.
almost the yin and the yang. You know what I mean? Because I'm so structured in my life, and do things in a formulated way. Where Candice is just like gone with the wind and does it from her heart and from what feels good to her.
Right.
So that is we're polar opposites, but we make it work mentally, and I think that's what helps me is to be open to possibilities. I got to step back for a minute because I'm just blown away. I'm sitting in a room with someone who's danced with Michael Jackson and Prince and other people. And at the same room, I'm sitting with someone who did choreography for, you just named 5 amazing, we're talking about top tier performers. I
think energy attracts energy, though, right?
Stevie Wonder, Madonna.
Yeah, and also just to bring it back full circle.
It's like I got the hair on my arms. Yeah.
See, but that's cool. I it's inspiring for, but like for us, it's like everybody's human. We're all on the same level. So it's just a matter of kind of knowing where you want to vibrate and finding your tribe.
Right.
I think that's cool.
And you guys, because we talked a little before the show, and obviously I talked to Justin, who gives me a lot of great information on both of you. You guys surround yourself with good people.
It's important to us.
Yeah. Can we talk about that a little bit and how that's important, and people that are going to want it, that are listening to this show, that want to everyday GSD, because you can't get drawn down. You have to be.
Well, that's just it, right? It's your mental health at the same time. If you're not around people that aren't pushing you to be a better person, if you're not around people that inspire you, if you're not around people who really just genuinely want the best for you,
right,
you're gonna down spiral real quick in this business,
right,
or be really lonely.
Yeah,
but I think
because it's a two-way street.
It's
right?
a two-way street. Yeah. You have to also show up.
You want to be around
those people.
them, but you also want to be there for them.
1,000%.
Right.
Yeah. One does not exist without the other. Right. But I think the older we've gotten, we've got a great group of friends, and then you know who has your back.
Right.
And you also know whose back you'll always have. But there's also this element of like I think now releasing judgment. Like everyone's got their own version of how they're going to do this game. Right. So if you support me fully, there's never going to feel like there's any guilt, shame, jealousy, any kind of judgment about how I do my thing. But you are a reflection of me. Right.
Right.
So
that's deep.
That is deep.
That's real deep.
Yeah. I want to surround myself with people that, like, if my name came out of their mouth, that's a reflection of me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Which is interesting, because you know what it just brought up to me while we were talking about that, being around. Candice is obsessed with Tom Cruise. Babe, that's the only time you can bring up his name on this podcast. He still does
all his own stunts.
No, he is. He's a force. He's a force to be reckoned with.
He still does all his own stunts.
Yeah.
When we were just in the Las Vegas series, one of the episodes that's already come out. By the time this comes out, we were talking about. Oh no, it was actually here. It was here. I'm sorry, I'm getting confused on it. But he's talking about how literally badass he is.
Yeah.
And like how hard he trains, and yeah.
You don't want me to sing my handwritten rap song about him.
No.
I have one, and that's
she
for
does
another.
Have it. Justin, did you help with this?
No, he didn't.
The drumming part.
It's for another time.
Okay.
Just get back, kind of, talking about being around good people and people that are there to support you, and just collectively who we are as artists in our lives. There was a moment where I had an artist and Justin was playing drums for him, and we were supposed to do a show at the Whiskey. And the artist called me the day before the show and was like, I can't get off work. They're going to fire me. And in that moment, I was like, okay, well, what are we going to do about this one? Because now I'm not only letting Justin down, but, it's just mayhem at this point.
Right.
Well, I went home and turned around and looked at this one, Candice, and she stepped in and did the whole show the day before. Learned all his songs, jumped in, and now she can say...
It was the same day.
Oh, was it?
We had rehearsal that morning, and yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for correcting me.
That's
but
okay.
let me tell you something.
Thank you for being a badass.
Yeah, it was a moment that, thank God I had someone like Candice.
That's
thank
sweet.
God I
Thank
had
you.
someone like Justin,
Right.
That we all collectively could come together and make shit happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Or get shit done.
Show up. You
Yeah.
have to show up.
You have to show
You
up.
have to show up. And not everybody's reliable, and that's a hard thing in this business. You have to know who you can trust.
Right.
And it's not always about money.
1,000%.
Yeah. If you make it about money, it won't work.
Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
It never does.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
It never does. If you forget about the money, and I'm not saying go work for free or any of that. Obviously, you have to pay your bills. But when you focus everything around money, it will not work out.
And that it's not fun.
It just won't work. Those are facts.
Yeah, it's heartless.
If you forget about the money and you go, okay, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to be the best at this, money will come.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
If you're good to the people around you and they're good to you, like you said, being surrounded by the right people, the money will come.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key of being in our side of the industry, because it's a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
Right. And so right now you're doing voiceovers. Is that what you were saying?
I do voiceovers off and on. I
Okay.
had a 2-year campaign with a big company for a while.
Okay.
And
Can we say who it is or no?
yeah, sure. It was with Comcast.
Okay. Yeah.
I do a lot of the legal tags at the end of like voiceover commercials.
Oh, yeah. Can you give us a quick one right now?
Not if it's not in front of me.
Yeah,
okay.
If she's gonna do that, I'd rather hear the Tom Cruise song.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Or, I mean, do we really want to hear about getting a third eye or an extra limb?
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, the side effects.
All the side effects.
Of what? Comcast or Tom Cruise?
Or just
the voice.
Easy.
Confused.
I told you the one time you get to talk about Tom Cruise. I'm just kidding.
Sorry, my bad.
And you're working in film and television.
I recently just finished a show that was on AMC for 2 seasons called Kevin Can F Himself. It's actually a really cool show. It was the first of its kind where they were doing both mediums. They did single cam when she was out in the real world, and they did multicam when we were on set to like show the dichotomy between, what people think is funny and what's really not funny. It's a really cool show. Take a look if you get a chance. And then I just finished doing a horror film that's on Apple TV right now called Malum. It's very scary. And it's been getting a lot of traction. So people are liking it. And I know that horror film genre is very specific. So hopefully we'll do another spinoff with that one soon. And, we just came off strike last year also. So we're all in this momentum of getting back to work and finding projects that we want to do. And
Do you think a large portion, when the strike was over, do you think a lot of people didn't want to come back because they're like, you know what, I've changed, I'm out?
I think it's 50-50.
Yeah, we know a lot of people that ironically up and moved to Austin.
Yeah.
And I think people just in general are constantly chasing the business. 10, 12 years ago, or maybe longer, the industry moved to Atlanta, and everybody was up and wanting to move there. So it's in flux with who's actually in LA and where we're at in the world and what we're doing,
Right.
So the struggle is real wherever you're at. But
yeah, the grass is not green on either side.
It's not.
The grass is as green as you can make it wherever you're at.
That's right. And
but
what kind of fertilizer you're putting on it.
100%. How much effort are you going to put into making that grass green?
That's right, baby.
Totally.
Yeah.
But, I also believe like the cream always rises to the top and the strong will survive, right? So even with scenarios like a strike or a pandemic, if it's not your path, it will fall off for you. And if it is, you will stay the course. Because I think persistence, consistency, and luck sometimes all comes into play.
Yeah, being in the right place at the right time
1,000%,
really does help. But you also have to put yourself in that place so you're there at the right time.
Absolutely.
Like you didn't just show up to a Michael Jackson or a Prince
Audition.
audition. I was gonna say interviews. Yeah, an audition or I'm sorry, you didn't just walk down the street hoping you would run into a Michael Jackson audition or a Prince audition. You were like, okay, this is where it's going to be. I'm going to go there and I'm going to talk to the gatekeeper and I'm going to get by him or her.
Yeah.
That's my goal today.
Sure. And
I'm going to try tomorrow and I'm going to try again the next day.
Well, it's the ambition with being present in the moment as well.
Right.
So it's once those two hit each other, you're good.
You're good. Right.
It's all right there.
Let's talk about 8 and 1 Productions. You're a co-owner of that.
I am. And we have creative directed for Ricky Martin. We produce a lot of music videos, direct them as well. Our first one, which was kind of funny and weird at the same time, was with Cheech and Chong and
Cheech and Chong. That's a blast from the past.
It was Cheech and Chong, George Lopez, Snoop Dogg, and Dogface, and it was a remix of
War.
And War, exactly. It was a remix of War's Lowrider, and I was sitting in the studio with a producer friend of mine, Calypso, who's amazing, and I was like, I wonder what this song would be like if you actually got War to redo it, and he did. And then came back to the studio.
Because that was just your idea.
Yeah, I was just sitting there and I was like, hey, what do you think if we can make this happen? And he did it. And then I turned around and I was like, what if we had Snoop do a verse on this? Turn around a month later, Snoop's on this track. Then I was like, all right, let's start putting it all together. And we just kind of built this like throwback to 70s stoners and, just kept it authentic to what the music was. And it was a blast. We had an amazing time besides the like 200 lowriders that showed up on set. And I had to tell, I only asked for 10, but it turned into a party and it was amazing. And, that's the realm that we're getting into now is doing more music video directing. We still are in the pocket of creative directing tours and all of that. Excuse me.
but like still killing it, right?
She's still doing her thing. Listen, she's an icon. She will always be. You know, she shows up for her fans. She shows up for herself, and you know, she's one of the last of the Mohicans. Let's just be honest.
Right.
Of our generation specifically.
And have you both worked with her?
I have not danced for Madonna. I was behind the scenes at one point.
Right.
And I'll keep it at that.
Yeah, well, I'm like, I didn't.
I was
know
at one of
that.
the castings in New York. Remember, I told you.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I helped.
That's
cast
right.
A long time ago.
Who's your favorite person that you've worked with? And I'll ask you the same question.
Oh man, see,
Or maybe the better question is, and maybe you don't want to answer this. Who would you never work with again?
Who would you never work with again? You can go first.
Because people ask me like, "What's your favorite podcast?" And I can tell you the one I don't like. Because I feel like there's so many good guests that I've had on the show.
Sure. What if I put it like this?
Yeah.
I don't really like to answer the question, what was my favorite job?
Right.
For me, they're all so different and they all hold a special, like, unique experience for me. And, you know, working with Madonna, you're treated like a king. You're at 5-star hotels. You're literally understanding what it's like to
And that's
be.
everyone that's working with her?
I mean, for the most part.
I mean, when I say everyone, like the
dancers, the crew.
Dancers, band, crew, you know, the crew works their ass off. So you want to talk about get shit done. Like they don't necessarily always get the luxury of the nice hotel because they're only there for 4 hours.
Right.
You know what I mean? And hats off to them. Every single person that's, you know, making these shows run. They're incredible human beings. But, you know, just to kind of show the dynamic is you have that, you know, that high quality lifestyle of being on tour. And then you have someone like back in the day when I was on Jennifer's first tour with her and Mark Anthony. It was about family.
You say Jennifer, like just, you know, Jennifer.
Jenny from the block that everybody wants her to stop saying. No, but so yeah, so being with Jennifer and having that culture, Latin culture, first of all, which is, you know, spicy and it's very family oriented. We would come home from rehearsal and literally everybody would meet in one room and we'd all cook together every night and just have fun, put on music, watch, you know, movies together, and just, we were a family.
Right.
You know, Christina, I've never been on stage with the most amazing group of dancers that just got each other. It was like ESP or something. We could look across the stage and give each other baseball signals and knew exactly.
Because at this point you're dancing?
At this point I was dancing early in my career when, you know, at 18 to, you know, probably 34 at the time. Shouldn't be giving out my age, right?
And also just
we'll cut that out.
We also have to remember that dance was very different back then. Like Paul mentioned earlier, there wasn't TikTok, there wasn't Instagram, there wasn't, you know, people just who were not professional, right?
Right.
Showing up for jobs on time. Like there's a whole new era of like dancers now that don't have the camaraderie that this generation had. You know, they had this family. They did show up for each other. They still stay connected because there's no, I mean, there's some footage of it, but there's like, the legacy only exists within ourselves.
Right.
You know, because there's no footage of when I was dancing on Michael. There's a lot, there's a lot of like tour videos that you could find on Christina and stuff with him, but like the behind the scenes stuff, we don't have pictures of that.
Right. We didn't walk around with the little handy cams. Right. You know, when the video recorders shrunk.
Yeah.
But
so it's a little bit more special.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a lot more special.
Yeah, and it's like, and then
you
we
look
get
at
to
your
be,
phone now. You have like 18,000 photos,
40,000 pictures of a shoe, and you're like, why? Like, what does this mean?
of
like a shoe in a different angle, and like what I ate last night.
Fucking shoe.
You know what I mean?
But again, it's instant gratification, you know, and everybody's kind of self-focused on themselves now.
Right.
Because they can see themselves on a camera. They can self-judge themselves. They can perfect the thing.
This is like not a good thing.
No.
Or is it, or is it not?
terrible.
I don't know. I'm just raising awareness.
I guess I don't know. I just think it's not good.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not a dancer.
I mean, there is an element that's kind of self-indulgent, right?
Right.
But at the same time, for us, we didn't have that. So our focus was each other.
Right.
Our focus was more present in the present moment of being in a group of people and getting shit done.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, I can go sit at the beach with my phone by myself and create all kinds of art and content. But that's not as special as
but
being...
you're not experiencing it. It's just, you know, it's the idea of it. It's actually not the real thing, you know?
Yeah.
So It is different, but it's cool to be a generation that crosses over and sees it before and what's happening now.
Yeah, because you're now with I'm assuming with 8 and 1 Productions, you're teaching or you're producing a younger generation of what you did, but you're now watching them.
100%.
It's different.
We are sharing our war stories from back in the day. We are educating these kids on how the industry should be. Etiquette, like somewhere along the line, that kind of felt like it went out the window. Respect for the people who have come before you.
Right.
People don't want to educate themselves on that. People don't care who came before them, who laid the foundation for them.
Right. So when you were a child, I'm going to just go back for a minute. When you were a child as a dancer, who did you look up to?
Oh man, Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire.
Right.
You know, it's endless. Gregory
I was
Hines.
gonna say Gregory Hines, Baryshnikov.
You know, Baryshnikov, of course. White Knights. I mean, I grew up literally studying Dirty Dancing as a kid. I don't know that I should say that, you know, gyrating as a young kid, but
yeah.
But that movie was so epic for me, you know, and those are the moments that led me to what I'm doing. But here's the key. It's the people behind it, the people that were creating it, the people that when I got to travel as a kid and compete, I got to take class from, I got to learn from and grab different experiences from so many different people. And for me, those people are, you know, the Barry Lathers, you know, Vincent Pattersons, the list can go on, but nobody knows these people.
Right.
Which
they should.
Yes.
That was a good old plug right there.
Yeah.
Look at me. I was like,
I
was like, hey, by the way.
She caught the look.
I'm like, really? Okay. So here it is.
Without going into it.
No, but basically, we could shed some light on it. During the pandemic, because, you know, nothing was going on, that we collectively came up with this concept to create we won't give away too much because it's not been sold. We're in the process of
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we're in development right now.
But we're in developing a show of the people that were the foundation seed planters.
Right.
8 iconic creative directors / choreographers of our time. And it's time for people to know who they are. Again, there's not a lot of footage. There's not a lot of, you know, understanding.
Especially behind the scene footage.
They're behind the scenes. These are people
Right.
that have created ideas and concepts and moments that we see every day and we take for granted.
Right.
So,
but just to clarify, not people that are just behind the scenes. These people started in front of the camera.
Right.
So you have actually seen them. You know who they are. What you don't know who they are unless you're in the business.
Right.
But now they're behind the scenes and the waves that they're making and the way that they have, again, laid the foundation for all of us, it's unparalleled. And people don't know this.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It blows my mind.
I was going to say it will blow your mind when you realize like where these little ideas, these seeds were planted, where they came from and grew into huge.
And this is a project that both of you are working on?
Yeah, it's our little baby that came up.
I love it. That's the COVID baby.
That's the COVID baby. Exactly.
Absolutely love it.
But this is the whole thing for us too, is, you know, we talk about GSD. For us, it's about educating before the actual art, because why are we doing it? If not, it means nothing.
Right.
If not, our history and the people that came before us, it's just going to get lost. It's going to get muddy. It's not. It's going to turn into what it is: instant gratification, with people thinking that they're a choreographer that don't even know what it is.
Right.
People thinking that, you know, anything like everybody, I feel like, just throws themselves into an idea. Sit back for a second, educate yourself, do the history first.
And everyone thinks they're a professional at it.
Oh, well.
That's fine for them, and let them focus on that. But what I would like to for it's like at the end of that experience, when, you know, I'm selling this product on Instagram and now I'm 60 and that's my skill set. Where do I go from there?
Right.
You know, and again, he's talking about foundation and education. And again, for me, it's about the feeling. No matter how old I get, I can always find joy in dance, acting, storytelling, art. You know, we also made a music video during the pandemic, and oddly enough, it was like it came from a joke. It came from a one-off with a friend of mine. We wrote this song, and He was like, want to shoot the video? And I was like, yeah. And like, we did our own wardrobe. It was literally when the pandemic first hit and there was not a one person on the street. And we were like, let's just shoot everywhere. Turns out.
Yeah, because you basically rented the city.
We rented the city for free.
Without a permit.
We got permits for free in our mind.
Yeah. But ironically enough, like the other day, a friend of mine tagged me on an Instagram post. Somebody used the song in a fashion show as a tribute. And I'm like, that is cool. That it was fun. It was an instinctual moment. And, you know, if you don't jump in the pool, you're never going to get wet.
Say that again.
If you don't, and that's a diving reference, right?
No, I love it.
If you don't jump in the pool, you'll never get wet. You'll never even know what it feels like to be in the water.
Yeah.
So that's how I, you know, that's the legacy I want to leave behind. Like, again, there's always a way there, you know, no until you get a yes. And all you can do is try. But while you try, have fun.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying and you're not having fun, then what's the point?
We were in Colorado and we were on our way to do a podcast, and the Uber driver was driving us, obviously. And it was interesting because he wasn't talkative and he was kind of like being grumpy. But then we told him what we were doing there, and we told him about the podcast Everyday GSD, and he just opened right up. And he I don't know his name, but we always say unknown Uber driver.
Yeah.
Sure.
But he's like, tie your shoes and run.
Yeah.
Show up.
Love it.
Just tie your shoes and run.
Yeah.
And Justin and I always say that. And it was like, tie your shoes and run.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to know until you dive off the board, right?
1,000%. 1,000%. And sometimes the flaws and the mistakes are the way in to make yourself either better or just, you know, I find the perfect stuff in the imperfections. And being human, that's how we learn, that's how we grow, that's how we expand.
Right.
You
Absolutely.
know? And that's exciting.
Do you guys have a message? Because I think we have to wrap it up here. I know you guys are extremely busy. And by the way, thank you so much. Because I know you went to the other Everyday GSD studio, which is the other side of town.
It's all right.
That was a great drive.
Yeah.
No, but I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedule. And I know that you've worked with some amazing people, and you guys are amazing. I think that's the best part about it, that you're sitting here and you guys are... someone's looking up to you like you looked up to the people in front of you. And I think that's pretty awesome. Do you have a message for anyone either wanting to get in this industry or just a GSD message that you've lived or done, each of you, to the audience?
There's a lot of things.
I know. You know, I think for me, it's just the roller coaster of life will always be there. It's how you deal with each and every single moment that's right in front of you that'll make you who you are. And will lay the path for everything you want.
Mic drop.
Wow, that was profound.
Yes. Seriously.
I don't know. Radio voice?
I don't know.
Was that my radio voice?
Candice, just to be real, Candice, I think you got a tough one to follow.
That's okay. That's
She
okay.
can do it, trust me.
No. I think also we have to remember that, like, it'll never be done. Whatever the thing is, it will never be done. The journey will never be done, right? So be present in the moment that you're in. Have like bags of gratitude around you because you don't know which next moment is promised, you know? So in the moment that you're in right now, the one that we're in right here, how awesome is it that we get to be together, uplift ourselves and uplift other people? I think it's super important. That's my drive. I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for everybody else. And I'm just a side effect. So
I'm just a side effect. That's good. That's really solid.
You know, there's one more that me and Candice debate at the kitchen table sometimes.
I love it.
Oh God. Okay.
Okay, here we go.
I like to say everything, everything, everything. Candice likes to say everything and nothing at all.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you guys. I know you're extremely busy, and I appreciate you guys taking your time to come down to the studio.
Thank you for having us.
I do have a little gift for you guys, each of you, because I know that you are everyday GSDers, and you have been for many, many years.
That's
I've
right.
got an everyday GSD T-shirt. For
Thank
each
you.
of
Yeah.
This is cute.
Thank you.
And I know that you guys will wear this, and people will be like, "What's that stand for?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "That's what we do. We get shit done."
That's right. Love it.
Awesome.
Thank you for
so
having
much.
us.
Again, thank you guys.
Thank you.
You're the
Much
best.
love and thank
Yes.
you.
And thank you for joining us. We're out. Just kidding.
Thanks for watching the Everyday GSD podcast. Episodes come out on the 1st and 15th of the month. If you want to watch people or listen to people that Everyday GSD, please download and subscribe wherever you listen or watch the Everyday GSD podcast. Everyday GSD.